Success is the sum of small efforts, repeated day in and day out. A timely quote from American author Robert Collier. Don't stop making those small steps towards achieving your goals. Hello there, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. Within the next 30 minutes, we'll look at measures by the government to grow the economy, remind persons of the deadline to file their statutory declarations, and increase that awareness around colon cancer. Stay with us.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, March 24, 2022. In a meeting with their Royal Highnesses, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prime Minister Andrew Holness affirmed Jamaica's intent to attain and fulfill its true ambitions as an independent, developed and prosperous country in short order. He was speaking with their Royal Highnesses during a courtesy call at Jamaica House on Wednesday.
Jamaica is a very free and liberal country, and the people are very expressive, and I'm certain that you would have seen the spectrum of expressions yesterday. There are issues here which are, as you would know, unresolved, but your presence gives an opportunity for those issues to be placed in context, put front and center, and to be addressed in as best as we can. But Jamaica is, as you would see, a country that is very proud of our history, very proud of what we have achieved, and we are moving on.
This comes just about a week after the Prime Minister told Parliament that an advisory committee would be established to lead the process of moving Jamaica away from being a constitutional monarchy with the Queen as head of state. In the meantime, His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge expressed his profound sorrow for slavery during a state dinner held at King's House Wednesday evening.
The appalling atrocity of slavery forever stains our history. I want to express my profound sorrow. Slavery was abhorrent, and it should never have happened.
The Duke of Cambridge said anniversaries such as the International Day of Remembrance of the Victims of Slavery and the Transatlantic Slave Trade, which will be marked on Friday, March 25, provide a moment for reflection.
While the pain runs deep, Jamaica continues to forge its future with determination, courage, and fortitude. The strength and shared sense of purpose of the Jamaican people, represented in your flag and motto, celebrate an invincible spirit.
Their Royal Highnesses arrived in Jamaica on March 22 for a 3-day official visit as part of activities to celebrate the Platinum Jubilee of Her Majesty the Queen. They left the island this afternoon. In other news, 2 orders that will increase the national minimum wage and the minimum wage for industrial security guards were approved by the House of Representatives on Tuesday. They are the National Minimum Wage Amendment Order 2022 and the Minimum Wage Industrial Security Guards Amendment Order 2022. Labour and Social Security Minister Carl Samuda piloted the orders in the House. He says the new rates resulted from recommendations made by the National Minimum Wage Commission following public consultations.
The diligence with which they carried out their mandate has enabled us to make an informed decision with respect to the adjustments which were to be made to the national minimum wages and the minimum wage for industrial security guards.
As was previously announced, effective April 1, the national minimum wage will increase to $9,000 per 40-hour workweek or $225 per hour. The minimum wage for industrial security guards will move to $10,500 per 40-hour workweek or $262.50 per hour. Security guards will also benefit from increases in laundry, firearm, and dog handlers' premium allowances. Meanwhile, life insurance with double indemnity protection and dismemberment coverage will also increase to $2.97 million. The Education Ministry will be constructing a new school for Mile Gully High as part of the infrastructure program for schools. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams made the announcement while touring the school recently.
I was convinced before I came here that Mile Gully needed to be dealt with. And when I asked about it, what I'm told is everybody agrees that there needs to be a new school here.
She advised the school's stakeholders that pre-construction activities will begin for the building of a new school this year. This will include transferring the title for 40 acres of land in Manchester Northwest from the National Land Agency to the Ministry of Education to house the new school building.
The approvals are there. Where we are right now, we're going to announce, hopefully in short order, a design competition.
The project will be undertaken as part of the ministry's School Infrastructure Development Program. The Meteorological Service Division is pushing to have its new S-band Doppler radar fully activated by the start of the hurricane season. The Met Service uses the Doppler radar to make forecasts on rainfall and other forms of precipitation. At a JIS think tank on Monday, Director of the Met Service, Evan Thompson, said the new Doppler radar would be commissioned in the next few months.
It has been installed. We've been doing the work now to fine-tune what it is that it will deliver. Training is still to be had with the Met Service. We had initial training just for familiarization with the products and what it is that is going to be required. But then more detailed training is going to be taking place. We will have other entities that are involved in that kind of training. And so the forecasters will now have to integrate what we get from our radar into the actual day-to-day work of the Met Service.
The initiative is being managed by the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, under the Improving Climate Data and Information Management Project and funded by the World Bank. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
All children deserve positive parenting. Why not pamper us? Be patient with us. Make time to teach us and, of course, play with us. Celebrate milestones with us and don't forget to be our #1 supporter. Do all these things and practice positive parenting today.
It's now time to hear from the Minister of Finance as he outlines the direction of the government to achieve social and economic growth.
Over the past year, the Jamaican economy has begun an impressive recovery from the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic.
This has been credited to several buffers that have been put in place over the years by the government. They were also accompanied by strong fiscal discipline and consistent policy choices during the pandemic.
We remain firmly committed to making sound, sustainable policy decisions that strengthen our economic resilience and ensure that when faced with unseen external shocks, we are ready and prepared to address and overcome them with a focus on the poor and vulnerable.
And so, going forward into the 2022-2023 fiscal year, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark outlines new and existing measures that will propel the country on a continued path of social and economic recovery, reform, and restoration. But first,
there will be no new taxes.
This is the 5th consecutive fiscal year of no new taxes and the 7th consecutive fiscal year of no raised taxes on a net basis. It's a continuation of give-back measures by the administration. In response to the rising oil price, the government says it will retain the hedge tax on gas and set up a $2 billion fund to ease the impact on those most affected.
But I can easily see, some of it being used to provide some relief to taxi operators who have fixed fares, and some being used for children on path who have transportation costs and so forth. But we will come back with greater detail as to how we are going to allocate it, because we want to listen to stakeholders and understand, to optimize the best way of allocating it.
Meanwhile, provision is being made to incentivize the purchase of electric vehicles. This includes a reduction in import duty from 30% to 10% for an initial 5-year period, and the exemption of the annual registration fees on battery-operated electric vehicles. These will be implemented in the first quarter of the upcoming fiscal year.
We must rid ourselves of this unhealthy dependence on oil. When we gathered here last year, some people never believed that we could recover this fast. When we forecasted 5% growth, then question it.
When compared to 2020, the economy grew for the last 3 quarters in the 2021 calendar year, with overall growth of 4.4%. It was a period which saw a rise in employment and a record decline of 7.1% in the unemployment rate.
I'm pleased to report and thankful that along with strong GDP growth and strong jobs growth, we also have significantly reduced our debt to GDP ratio, which is now projected to be in the region of 96% by March of 2022.
Recovery was enabled by the government's direct and indirect social and economic support in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Over the last 2 financial years, more than $76 billion were administered, of which $40 billion was direct support.
The direct COVID-19 health intervention in terms of additional support, there was support in the ministry already, but additional support cost $26.4 billion.
Social support will continue in March with $200 million for needy families who are not on the PATH program. In April, a further $250 million will be used to provide care packages to the most vulnerable.
We have made provisions to be in a position to follow up with another $250 million later in the year, depending on how the situation evolves. The purpose of the reform agenda, Madam Speaker, is to improve efficiency, transparency, and fairness while providing the framework to accelerate economic growth and development.
This will include an upgrade of several pieces of legislation to facilitate the ease of doing business, create a more equitable tax system, and provide opportunities within the global tax landscape. The Pensions Act will also be replaced to reduce the vested period from 10 to 5 years and allow for portability and indexation, among other things. To deepen its financial inclusion, government will incentivize customers who sign up for the Know Your Customer account, as well as the Jamaica Digital Exchange Jamdex account. The first 1,000 customers who registered after April 1 for both accounts will each receive $2,500. The public sector compensation review will take place to make the remuneration system fairer for government workers. Other reform measures will be taken to strengthen governance, audit, and oversight mechanisms.
We expect the fiscal commissioner to be appointed in the upcoming fiscal year, and the selected candidate will lead the establishment of that office.
Other measures include the implementation of regulations to nominate, select, and appoint boards to public body entities. $89 million has also been allocated to the Office of the Auditor General to clear up unaudited financial statements and annual appropriation accounts.
We're serious about improving the governance of our country. The greater the public trust that exists, the more a government can do in the interest of its people. In terms of restoration, Madam Speaker, we remain committed to ensuring that we put Jamaica back on a path of sustainable economic growth.
Steps to accelerate this growth include the approved integrated resort development to attract large investors in the tourism sector. 9 requests have been received and 2 licenses are being processed for approval, with a combined investment of at least $1 billion. Over the next 3 years, government will undertake over $200 billion in infrastructure development. MSMEs will be given consistent access to finance to encourage startup, innovation, and stimulate investment. Approximately $13 billion in loans and credit support has been made available, as well as $10 billion in private equity and venture capital.
Never has so much private equity financing been available for small and medium-sized businesses and early-stage companies in Jamaica.
And to ensure that the country is able to withstand shocks of natural disasters, a catastrophe bond is now in place.
The important thing to note is that there are few countries who are recovering economically in terms of their GDP production, recovering job growth at the same time, and at the same time reducing debt. It's one thing to do one of those 3, but for all 3 to happen is indeed, I put it to you, quite unique in our hemisphere at this point in time.
Without a doubt, tourism is Jamaica's #1 industry, and our dedicated workers are its greatest asset. Jamaica would not be the heartbeat of the world without you. As the industry rebounds from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, we truly need all hands on deck, yours included. Vaccination holds the hope for tourism's full recovery. In addition to COVID-19 protocols, it is the only comprehensive way to fight the pandemic and save lives. I am therefore urging every worker in the tourism and hospitality industry, in all the subsectors, including accommodation, attractions, entertainment, transportation and craft, to do your part and get vaccinated. Do it for yourself, your family, your workplace, and your community. Do it for Jamaica, land we love. Stay safe. Get vaccinated.
Earlier, we looked at the government's approach to social and economic wealth, and now we switch our attention to transparency. A demonstration of this is through the filing of statutory declarations. The deadline this year is March 31, and the Integrity Commission is reminding us of the process and which public sector workers are eligible.
If between January 1 and December 31, you are a parliamentarian or public official in receipt of total emoluments of $3.5 million or above, or you were appointed or performed the functions of a position listed in the Jamaica Gazette, November 26, 2021, regarding the Integrity Commission Act, you are required to file a statutory declaration of assets, liabilities, and income as at December 31. What to file? You are required to declare all balances and interest in all assets, liabilities, and income received by you, your spouse, and children below the age of 18, whether living in Jamaica or abroad. It should be noted that a person who knowingly makes a false statement in a statutory declaration may be liable to a fine not exceeding $2 million or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years. The Integrity Commission has implemented its zero-tolerance policy. All declarants will be required to submit all outstanding statutory declarations. Failure to submit a statutory declaration may attract a fine of not exceeding $500,000 or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months. The Integrity Commission has decentralized the collection of statutory declarations. Submit your statutory declaration for the previous calendar year securely within your organization on or before March 31 of the following year. Here's how. Firstly, complete your statutory declaration. Ensure you have entered the correct as-at date, for example, December 31, 2021. NA or see attached is never an appropriate response. Use none and list all required balances. Copy or print additional pages where necessary. Ensure all the sections are signed. A justice of the peace is required to validate your signature by signing, entering the date, location, and affixing their embossed seal. Attach the relevant supporting documents. ATM printouts are not accepted. You then proceed to your in-house collection point. Collect a statutory declaration envelope and security seal. Place the required information on the statutory declaration envelope, seal the envelope, and affix the security seal. Deposit the secure envelope in the Integrity Commission branded collection container or with your designated officer on or before March 31. Finally, enter your name and the date of submission on the Integrity Commission log sheet. The designated officer should deposit the white copy of the log sheet in the collection container on April 1. Retain the yellow copy for the files and facilitate the submission of collection container to the Integrity Commission. The Integrity Commission will register your statutory declaration and send you a receipt by email on or before May 13. After submission, the statutory declaration is examined for due completion and accuracy. Where the Integrity Commission is satisfied that the statutory declaration has been duly completed, certification is done and an advisory issued to the declarant. Submit your statutory declaration completely and accurately and get on the path to certification. For more information, visit our office on the second floor at 45 to 47 Barbados Avenue, Kingston, or give us a call at 876-968-6227.
The travel file application was created by the Transport Authority for the protection of the commuting public. Please download the travel file application on the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Once you download the application, put in your phone number, register the application under your phone number, and then you'll be able to verify the license plate that you're going in. Once you verify the license plate and the information of the vehicle, you will then be able to share that trip of the vehicle that you're in. And if there is difficulty on the trip, you then will be able to push a panic button and share your location with others as well. Download the application, give us our feedback at customerservice@ta.org.jm. Don't forget, it's free to download, free to use.
It's Colorectal Awareness Month, and consultant gastroenterologist Dr. Mike Mills helps us to understand the risk factors and preventative measures.
The gastrointestinal tract is a system of organs working together to support the human body. It takes food, digests it, absorbs energy and nutrients, and then removes waste through urine and feces. The esophagus, stomach, pancreas, liver, and colon are all part of this system, and studies show that cancer of these vital organs are becoming increasingly common in Jamaica. One of the leading causes of death among Jamaican men and women is colon cancer. Colon cancer does not discriminate. It's the third most common cause of cancer-related death among Jamaican men and women. But like most lifestyle-related illnesses, you have the power to reduce your risk of developing colon cancer as well as prevent it from occurring. An unhealthy diet, smoking, obesity, alcohol use all increase one's risk for colon cancer.
Everyone is at some risk for colon cancer because everyone has a colon. But some individuals are at higher risk for colon cancer, depending on, for example, their diet or lifestyle. So a diet which is very high in processed meat, a diet which is high in fat, a diet which is low in fiber, these all increase your risk for colon cancer.
Other risk factors include persons with pre-existing medical conditions such as inflammatory bowel disease and ulcerative colitis. The risk level of persons with these diseases increases after 10 years. Therefore, active screening is a necessity. Unfortunately, signs and symptoms of colon cancer often mimic other diseases such as inflammatory bowel disease and irritable bowel syndrome. That's why it's crucial that there's early screening. So visit your doctor if you experience dark or bloody stool, rectal bleeding, diarrhea, constipation, bowel incontinence or narrowing of the stool that goes beyond a few days, belly pain, anemia, vomiting or unexplained weight loss.
You can develop a screening protocol in an individual depending on their risk.
It's recommended that colon cancer screening starts between the ages of 45 and 50 years old. The simplest screening tool is a stool test for blood at a local laboratory.
So this is not you looking to see if there's blood in the stool. This is you going to your doctor at the appropriate age. Your doctor sends you to the lab to get a stool sample tested to see if there is a microscopic amount of blood. This is the first sign usually that there is something called a polyp inside the colon. So the polyp is what's known as a precancerous stage. So it's not cancer itself, but we do know that a significant number of cancers will develop in individuals who have had a polyp. And the objective is to find the polyp and remove it before it gets a chance to become cancerous.
If a polyp is found, the next step in the screening process would involve a colonoscopy. In this procedure, a doctor would place a small camera into the bowel to check for the polyp and remove it if present.
We can do other screening tests. The barium enema is not as popular anymore, but it's still possible and it's accessible and available, which is an X-ray involving some dye inside the bowel as well to look to see if there's anything growing there. A CT scan of the bowel can also be done as a screening tool to look to see if you have any polyps, which can then be removed at colonoscopy. Outside of screening for the colon, you may also want to try and reduce your risk by modifying your lifestyle. So stopping smoking, reducing your alcohol consumption, and eliminating processed meat in the diet are all important risk factors which can be modified to reduce the risk of colon cancer.
This is where the journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback through Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.